wonderful delegations. If you could please take your seats, please. We'd like to begin. I can see people are still joining us, but I'm going to have to kick off anyway. A very warm welcome to everybody. If you could kindly take your seats. A very warm welcome to everybody to RC72, to the 72nd session of the Regional Committee here in beautiful Tel Aviv. We will start with a formal opening and opening ceremony shortly, but before we do so, we wanted to welcome you. As you're aware, the ministers, 26 of them that are physically attending this meeting, are currently out on the terrace having their photo taken with His Excellency, the President of Israel, and Her Excellency, the First Lady, and they will be joining us shortly. I will invite you to stand and applaud, if you so please, as they enter the room shortly. This is an unprecedented meeting in the sense that we have over 650 individuals joining us physically here in Tel Aviv, which is, as I say, unprecedented. A further 150 joining us online. 26 ministers are with us. We have 7 ministers joining us virtually, and I'd like to thank all of those individuals, honourable ministers included, of course, for joining us online today for the proceedings. I'm also going to be welcoming, of course, later on the 30 international partners that are with us, and the 50 non-state actors. We have 120-something delegates from non-state actors, civil society organizations joining us, who, of course, we also welcome. And there are about 120 of us from the Secretariat here as well, which are at your disposal throughout this week. I'd also remind you that we have accredited journalists here. They're wearing a yellow badge stating press. So they should be easily identifiable. Immensely grateful, of course, we are all immensely grateful, of course, to Israel for hosting this incredible event. Of course, in the Regional Committee in 2019, we announced and Israel was supported in hosting a Regional Committee in 2020. We've waited 2 very long and very hard years, but hopefully the excitement has built over this time, and we're ready to truly have a remarkable and memorable event over the next 2 days. So I would like to have introduced Dr. Asher Salmon, who is the head of the Department of International Relations in the Ministry of Health of Israel. He's not in the room at the moment because he's with His Excellency and out on the terrace for the photograph. But in his absence, I will just say maybe we can thank him later in our interventions. I know the regional director plans to do so, and I will be introducing a video shortly from the Israeli health authorities for those of you here in the room and those joining online. I also note that Asher Salmon will be requesting that we observe a moment of silence out of respect for the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II in a short few moments. So I'm not going to run through the program. I think you're all aware it's organized into 3 blocks. We have the political, we have the technical, and we have the governance days. Plenary discussion can be followed in 4 working languages: English, French, German, and Russian. Headsets are in the room. Those of you that don't have the headsets, I believe they're available outside the room over here on the left. And I should already thank the interpreters, who are going to, quite frankly, perform a superhuman task over these next 3 days. Very grateful to them in advance for all of their efforts and the immense support that they provide us. Next to the plenary sessions, there will also be parallel sessions in the morning and lunch. Please consult the WHO Europe website for the full program. The rooms for the various sessions are indicated in the overview that you received at the reception desk. There's also an exhibition space that you may have seen over to the right outside these doors with the speaker's corner, where we're going to be entertained with some speed discussions and presentations and other exciting things that I understand will be happening over the next 3 days. Again, please consult the event website for this program. And I also saw a few folks out on the social program Walk the Talk this morning, which unfortunately is incredibly early in the mornings for you all, but you can probably guess whose idea that was. A 6:30 start for the Walk the Talks from our very energetic regional director. I'd like to also inform delegations that we've received an unprecedented high number of speakers for the general debate today. Now this is automatically going to push us over into the afternoon session. We're going to run over the lunch break with the general discussion, and it is highly likely that the sessions on digital health and behavioral and cultural insights may have to be postponed. But we will come back to you later in the agenda on this. I understand that the speakers list for the general discussion is again unprecedented in terms of the numbers of member states and delegations that wish to speak. So I guess with that, I would also reinforce the importance of adhering to the set speaking times, and be aware that our chairs may be brutal with you in terms of the time that you're allocated to speak. There will be a countdown clock on the screen so you can follow where you are in terms of your allotted time. Some other brief household messages. Please make sure to wear your badge wherever you are in the building, but particularly in this area, because the security officers are also mingling around and they have the devices to check that we are all registered participants. I won't explain the COVID protocol. I believe you've all had it, but wearing masks is advised if you're not making a statement or speaking. Self-test kits, I also understand were presented to you all with your registration. Transfers from and to the hotel have been organised. Please check the transportation desk, which is also out on the left in the corridor. For any other practical questions, please do consult the guide for participants and reach out to any of us in the Secretariat for guidance at any time. For attendance virtually connected, the personal Zoom link that you received, will be active for the entire plenary session through Wednesday. And in addition, open Zoom links have been shared with you for joining parallel sessions. If you cannot locate them, please send an email to the special RC72 mail address or call the hotline. And I believe there was a slide we were going to put up. Yes, there is a slide right behind me. Perfect. So I think that's the housekeeping statements that we wanted to make prior to the arrival of the ministers and His Excellency the President, Her Excellency the First Lady of Israel. If I could ask, and maybe on behalf of the Israeli health authorities, that we run a short video that was provided to us for the opening section of the Regional Committee. Could we run the video, please?
The dangers posed by antimicrobial resistance have been known about for decades. However, with rapidly increasing levels of resistance in recent years, the world is only now waking up to the dawning reality of just how unforgiving that future may be.
Antimicrobial resistance, AMR, is the rise of superbugs that don't respond to treatments, and that means people die. We know from modelling that if we don't take effective action, then by 2050 there'll be 10 million people dying every year of superbugs, of AMR.
Fran Husson is just...
Thank you very much. I'm understanding that ministers are returning, so I'm going to ask for the correct video, because that was not the right video. Good start. To be played shortly, but I understand the ministers and the president will be with us shortly, so maybe we just take a slight pause, if we could, as the heads of delegation ministers rejoin us in the room and as we await the president. If we could just stay in the room just for a couple of minutes while we await the arrival. Thank you. Thank you. Could you please take your seats, please? The president is about to enter the room. Can you please take your seats? Thank you. Delegates. Please take our seats. Thank you. Thank you very much for your understanding.
Meet the Israeli healthcare system. This small 74-year-old state managed to establish a remarkable healthcare system even before it received its independence. A healthcare system which looks after each and every one of its citizens. What is our secret? Our secret is our people. Our people who demonstrate innovation, creativity, and initiative. Because it isn't just the advanced and dedicated treatment or the technology that we implement in every field, or even the research and development that is generated in this small country. It is our people. Our people are at the forefront of research and development of innovative technology, breakthrough studies, and advanced treatment methods. Our people are a magnificent mosaic of all nationalities and religions of Israeli society. All of them, nursing assistants, nurses, and doctors, save lives while using the most advanced means available. Our innovation divisions are spread around all medical institutes, developing response treatments to any medical need. Night vision technology taken from the battlefields to assist surgeons. 3D systems used for pre-surgery imaging. 3D printers for prosthetic implantation. And robots which assist medical staffs. We develop means for mobilizing life-saving medicine in drones, grow artificial skin implants for burn victims, transplant vision repairing chips, advanced digital means for remote medicine, and use cutting-edge rehabilitation means to treat disabled populations. In the mental health field, we lead in innovative treatment for designated patients. We make sure that every citizen has digital access to medical care, improve our facilities yearly, and maximize accessibility to the most advanced and efficient medical services. We are happy to share our knowledge, our innovation, and our documented medical experience with any healthcare system and research institute in the world for the benefit of all mankind.
Ladies and gentlemen, to please stand and welcome the President of Israel, His Excellency President Herzog, and the First Lady. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, we are so proud to have with us the President of the State of Israel. We will start this ceremony with a moment of silence in the memory of Her Majesty, the late Queen Elizabeth II, who lost and is being felt around the world. Let us think of her service to her people and her impact on the world. Thank you. I would like now to welcome Ms. Valerie Hamati. Valerie is an Israeli Arab Christian singer who launched her singer career in a class memory trip to Poland a few years ago. She was a top contest in one of our main TV shows, The Next Star, and she was as well singing to the Negev Summit Forum of the Abraham Accordance last year with all the honorable guests. She will sing us Hallelujah of Leonard Cohen. Valerie, please. So, never an event starts with any changes and modifications. I guess the singer will join us in a minute. So, at this point, I would like to honor and welcome our President of the State of Israel, His Excellency, Mr. Yitzhak Herzog, and the First Lady, Mrs. Michal Herzog. I'll kindly ask you to turn your mobile phone to silent, and please come and
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You will be hearing Valerie Hamati later, I'm sure. You'll have to suffer me first. And I want to welcome all of you and say that in Judaism, we would say on such a distinguished gathering, Shehecheyanu v'kiyimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh, meaning that God has made us live, sustained us, and brought us here. And this we all know in proportion what a great moment this is. Thank you, Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. Wonderful to have you in Israel. Regional Director for Europe, Dr. Hans Kluge, thank you very much for all your great work. My good friend, Israeli Minister of Health, Mr. Nitzan Horowitz. Ministry of Health Director General, Professor Nachman Ash. Distinguished ministers from all over, ambassadors, representatives, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure to welcome you all to Israel and see you all this morning here, and to open the 72nd session of the World Health Organization Regional Committee for Europe. Opening this session in the presence of Director General Dr. Ghebreyesus and Regional Director Dr. Kluge is an opportunity to praise the outstanding work of the World Health Organization over the past 2.5 years. The leadership and staff at all levels were thrown into a war zone and took charge of an impossible situation. For this, I would like to thank you all. I would add a personal note. My late aunt, Penina Herzog, served as vice chairwoman of the WHO Executive Board for many, many, many years, representing the State of Israel in this important forum. She was Deputy Director General of our Ministry of Health, and now in her capacity is the wonderful Dr. Ashi Shalmon, who I want to thank personally for his incredible efforts to bring this event and make it happen. Thank you, Ashi, from all of us. I'm mindful that this RC72 is the first regional governance session being held in person since COVID-19 swept through our lives, obliterated any ongoing agendas, remodeled social behaviors, transformed the healthcare profession. Since the moment we learned of the pandemic, virtually all global focus and resources, whether physical, mental, spiritual, or social, were diverted. This RC72 is one more indication of normalcy. Here we are, so let's get back to business. Indeed, the challenges that will be discussed here over the coming days are critical for any life-seeking community. And yet, as we drill down into behavior and culture-based health promotion, into digital health, or into access to affordable medicines, I urge us all not to hasten to declare normalcy. Rather, I believe we must thoughtfully reflect on this vulnerable moment in human history and human health. Because the pandemic has left us all bewildered, taken aback, and traumatized. Because its impact on our collective psyche is ever present. Because its long-term effects on global mental health are just barely surfacing, and it is clear that these effects must be placed front and center, researched in every WHO member state, studied in depth. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I believe it is our duty to find the words to understand what we have undergone and to develop the tools with which to process and heal, truly heal from this virus. We must recognize that until the pandemic is over for all of us, it is not truly over for any of us. We must also recognize that while our medical organizations and professionals perform in an exemplary fashion, we know that the next global health crisis is right around the corner. And so, to quote Albert Einstein, a new type of thinking is essential if mankind is to survive and move forward towards higher levels. He said again, a new type of thinking. So let us prepare for this new type of thinking by implementing new types of thinking, by harnessing the power of cutting-edge technologies to protect and heal, and most importantly, by enhancing international collaboration. This wonderful forum is just a perfect example of that. On our part, the State of Israel is committed to working closely with the WHO towards enabling humanity to meet the many challenges we face. Although Israel is a small country with few natural resources, we are blessed with phenomenal human resources. These have enabled Israel to grow and to thrive, learning and leaning on our commitment to scientific excellence and innovation, as well as a spirit of social solidarity and equality. This resourceful mindset, informed with collective responsibility, resulted in the implementation of universal healthcare, which is one of our prime sources of pride and which is based on a highly interconnected healthcare system. Israel's vast experience facilitated our successful battle with COVID as we became world leaders in administering vaccines to all eligible populations. My wife, Michal, and I were privileged, I think, to be the first humans in the world to get the third vaccine. And I was honored to do it at the Sheba Medical Center, where I entrusted Sister Nurse Lina, a Muslim nurse, to take care of that. Remember that in Israel, every child, Jewish or Arab, secular or ultra-Orthodox, of every sector and persuasion, living in the desert or in the city, is equally entitled to the very best health care, adapted to their cultural context and need. Israel is also home to countless trailblazing medtech and health tech startups, pushing the bounds of human imagination. Together with European and international institutions, we can develop the breakthroughs that will enable people to live healthier and longer lives. In this vein, I'm happy to announce that Israel will be working with the World Health Organization to establish a cutting-edge center for digital health, bringing top quality and innovative care to every corner of the world. I wish to raise another issue. Ladies and gentlemen, the biased and politicized resolutions almost on an annual basis, singling out Israel at the WHO Assembly must end. It's simply based on falsehood and ulterior motives, damage the work and reputation of this very distinguished body, whilst negatively impacting on health cooperation in the region. Health must be above politics, while serving as a bridge to mutually beneficial cooperation and exchange that enhances quality of life for all. Let us embrace the new spirit of peace sweeping through the Middle East following the historic Abraham Accords. Israel will continue to offer support and aid to neighbors near and far, including and predominantly our Palestinian neighbors, extending its hand to all in partnership and collaboration. Dear friends, I wish you all a very successful and fruitful conference in our beautiful country. Let us work together to learn and share insights, to implement the WHO European Program of Work, to reach the 3 billion targets, and to improve and save lives around the world. Thank you all. Bruchim habayim.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, the President of Israel, for your warm words. I have just to let you know that the President of Israel was working with us from the first day of COVID and was an inspirational figure in our response to this horrendous disease, horrendous pandemic. So thank you so much. Well, as we Israelis improvise, we will ask Ms. Valerie Hamati to join us now and sing for us Hallelujah of Leonard Cohen. Valerie, please come.
في ليلة من هالليالي لست أدري ما تراني ظلمة تغمرني يا رب. الأرض ضاقت والسماء وقلبي معرفة يا، والدمع بات يبكي يا إلهي يا إلهي يا إلهي يا إلهي يا Maybe there's a God above, but all I've ever learned from love was how to shoot somebody who outdrew you. And it's not a cry that you hear at night, it's not someone who's seen the light, it's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. Ya Ilahi, hallelujah, 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 ya Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hamati. I'm sure it's the first time you hear Hallelujah both in English and Arabic. At that point, I would like to ask the President to approach to the podium with the Director General and with the Regional Director. Distinguished guests, at that point, we would like to thank the President of the State of Israel and the First Lady for being us today. The President needs to go back to Jerusalem, and we thank him so much for finding the time to be with us this morning. Thank you very much.
Honourable delegations, if I could ask you to take your seats again, we'd appreciate it. And as you can see, I've been joined by the regional director here, and I would like to invite the outgoing RC71 president, Ms. Ogurta Manastoliou, the Minister of Health of Albania, to join us here at the top table. Thank you. Thank you, Minister. In this opening ceremony, we have addresses by invited dignitaries. The first of these is the Prime Minister of Greece, Mr. Kyriakos Mitsotakis, and I would like us to please play the pre-recorded video statement that the Prime Minister kindly sent to us. Thank you.
I would like to thank the WHO Regional Director for Europe, Dr. Hans Kluge, for his continuous efforts and the concrete achievements of the WHO in supporting both our country and the European region as a whole. Over the last years, we have been facing global humanitarian crisis of tremendous consequence for citizens globally and in the European region. These crises have undeniably shifted our priorities towards solidarity, empathy, community. And of course, they have reinforced the need our citizens have for access to affordable, quality healthcare, and for countries across the region to have concrete emergency preparedness plans to be able to deliver such care in times of crisis. As the great ancient Greek philosopher Plutarch once said, health is precious, but it is volatile. Υγεία τίμιον, αλλά ευμετάστατον. In our times, our health and well-being, our ultimate virtues, cannot be taken for granted. I applaud the World Health Organization's efforts to bridging this gap across the region. It is through these collective efforts, through cross-border collaboration, and the far-reaching WHO European Programme of Work for 2020-2025, that our citizens' expectations will be met. I particularly commend the newfound focus placed on mental health within the Programme of Work and in national and pan-European plans alike. The journey towards collective mental health is a long one. Yet we have placed the important stepping stones to make significant advancements. In Greece, we have taken radical steps towards achieving our goal. We have placed health at the heart of our policy agenda, and we're making significant progress in our efforts towards transforming our health system. This would have been not possible without the unparalleled support and the expert guidance from the WHO Europe. Through our successes and shortcomings from the crisis we have faced, we have managed to overcome the challenges posed to us and respond to the needs identified in times where our system was stretched to its capacity. Together with WHO Europe, we developed and have now established a fully functional and highly operational WHO office in Athens, focused solely on improving the quality of care. The creation of the office marks a significant milestone for our country, as well as for the WHO European region and the countries of the Mediterranean basin. It opens doors for enhanced interregional collaboration. And in keeping with our priorities, Greece has seen the creation of a specialized program on children and adolescent mental health, a program we're funding for the benefit of children and adolescents across Europe. All these visions, as all great actions start from such visions, have now been brought to fruition. With our joint efforts, we have once again managed to turn prospects into concrete reality.
Our sincere thanks to Prime Minister Mitsotakis for those opening remarks. I'd next like to invite Sandra Galina, the Directorate General for Health and Food Safety of the European Commission, to the podium. Sandra Galina, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Hello. Ministers, distinguished Director General Dr. Tedros, distinguished Regional Director Dr. Kluge, Excellencies, distinguished guests and colleagues. First of all, thank you to our Israeli friends for hosting this year's meeting. I'm very honored to be here in person with all of you. We resume our physical meetings after a long trek in the COVID desert, and I must say that in the many exchanges that preceded this meeting, I could sense that we were all eager to be here today. Presence will facilitate constructive exchanges on the many crucial topics ahead of us. I would like to highlight two basic facts in the context that we have. COVID has reminded us all that working together on common health issues is the only way forward. Secondly, the multilateral approach with the WHO at its core, it's really crucial. All of us know that we face daunting challenges. The EU will play its part. We shall also give you a view of what we consider our priorities in our forthcoming global health strategy planned for this year. While it is still being shaped, I can anticipate to you that our support to the multilateral system with a strong WHO at its core will figure prominently. And I would like to seize this opportunity to thank Dr. Tedros and Dr. Kluge for their stewardship in these very troubled times we went through. Now, digitalization and the health workforce are major drivers, and I would call them also major challenges for all of us in the health ecosystems. In this respect, WHO Workforce Report offers an analysis that must inform our debate. We all admire and applaud the brave and indispensable work of frontline health workers throughout the COVID-19. But you will agree with me that there is some room for improvement. The new Financial Intermediary Fund for Pandemic Prevention and Preparedness and Response, which is still trying to find the name, may be a sign that we have learned the lesson, and I warmly encourage you all to join that fund. But money is not all. We have a certain set of global governance gaps that riddle our global health agenda. This is the thrust of many valuable reports authored by authoritative former heads of state or even prime ministers. I would like to seize this opportunity to thank them and their teams for the excellent work, casting light into the shortcomings, but also giving us a vision of possible future landscapes. Much as I'm grateful to all of them for their great activism after and during the pandemic in trying to devise new instruments and solutions, I think that the proof will be in the pudding, meaning that these ideas will need to become realities, or else the next pandemic, which is just around the corner, will find us not better prepared. If anything, the polio cases that are resurfacing in places where it had long been eliminated remind us that there is no room for complacency. Perhaps we need a discussion on the focus of WHO. This is a fundamental norm-setting institution. The work to upgrade the international health regulations and the pandemic agreement could clearly benefit from clearer guidance of what we really want to achieve and how. And I beseech all politicians in this room to give a thought to that. Parallel systems may, for some, provide better competing environments. For others, they may weaken our response to global health threats. But this debate cannot be procrastinated any longer. To make our action stronger, cooperation and solidarity are what we need. The kind of cooperation and solidarity we, as European Union, are providing to the Ukraine to address the health implications of the humanitarian crisis and help the country maintain and rebuild its health system as it confronts Russia's unprovoked military aggression. As regards COVID-19, the European Commission proposed new measures for EU member states just in a recent communication. And I must say that we would like to avoid a new surge of COVID-19 this autumn and this winter. And all of this is obviously in keeping with the WHO autumn and winter strategy, without losing sight of the potentially disruptive impact of long COVID. Medicines and long-term sustainability for health systems are also immensely important. In this event, we have a session dedicated to the Oslo Medicines Initiative, and I'm looking forward to an action-oriented debate. I would like to thank you all, and I wish us all very successful proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director General, for those wise words. I would next like to introduce the Minister for the Eurasian Economic Commission to the podium, Dr. Viktor Nazarenko.
Добрый день, уважаемый доктор Ханс Клюге. Добрый день, уважаемые дамы и господа. Я хотел бы поблагодарить организаторов за проведение такого важного мероприятия и поприветствовать вас от лица Евразийской экономической комиссии, исполнительного органа Евразийского экономического союза и делегации государств-членов Союза, которые участвуют сегодня в этом мероприятии. Евразийский экономический союз является международной организацией региональной экономической интеграции, обладающей международной правосубъектностью. И сегодня это единый экономический рынок с населением свыше 180 миллионов человек и площадью более 200 миллионов квадратных километров. Рынок Евразийского союза функционирует по единым правилам регулирования движения товаров, услуг, капитала и рабочей силы на основе норм Всемирной торговой организации. Интеграционные процессы в регионе охватывают не только экономическую сферу, но и другие сферы деятельности. Бесспорно, и в первую очередь, это охрана здоровья населения и обеспечение его санитарно-эпидемиологического благополучия. Международная повестка Евразийского союза, как и большинства государств мира, в последние 2 года формировалась в условиях противодействия распространению коронавирусной инфекции. С первых недель после сообщения Всемирной организации здравоохранения мировому сообществу о пандемии Евразийская экономическая комиссия совместно с правительствами и государственными органами государств-членов Евразийского союза обеспечивала выработку конкретных противоэпидемических мер по защите населения, а также поддержанию экономической стабильности в регионе. На площадке Евразийской комиссии в течение всего периода пандемии вырабатывались скоординированные меры в сферах производства и торговли, таможенного и технического регулирования, здравоохранения, обеспечения санитарно-эпидемиологического благополучия, обращения лекарственных средств и медицинских изделий, которые реализовывались через принятие национальных и союзных решений и документов. На основе международных рекомендаций ВОЗ при активном содействии вспомогательных органов комиссии, Министерства здравоохранения, Совета главных государственных санитарных врачей в сжатые сроки были подготовлены целый ряд союзных рекомендаций противоэпидемической направленности, включая лабораторную диагностику коронавирусной инфекции, организацию работы на объектах международных грузовых транспортных коридоров, профилактические меры на различных видах пассажирского транспорта, в том числе при восстановлении регулярного сообщения, взаимное признание сведений и документов о проведенной вакцинации против COVID-19. При этом в подготовку и реализацию конкретных мер по борьбе с пандемией и инфекционными заболеваниями были вовлечены все слои общества, включая ученых, врачей, организаторов производства и системы здравоохранения.
International cooperation in health remains one of the most important priorities in the activities of the Eurasian Commission and the authorized bodies of member states of the Union. And in this regard, I'd like, on a positive note here, to make mention of the mainstreaming interaction between the Eurasian Commission and the World Health Organization and its regional office for Europe. We have worked to develop cooperation. We've signed a memorandum of understanding to foster it, based on a specific system of action plans which was developed. for the near future. It includes measures aimed at combating communicable diseases and non-communicable diseases, regulating the circulation of medicines and medical devices, responding to emergencies, ensuring food safety, modernizing digital health systems, as well as other areas of mutual interest. I am convinced that strengthening and enhancing cooperation of the Eurasian Union states and the Eurasian Economic Commission with the WHO will make it possible to jointly address topical public health issues in the region and to make a significant contribution to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals in the field of health protection. I would just like once again to thank all WHO leaders and personally Dr. Hans Kluger, the WHO Regional Director for Europe, for your support and for your call to work together to great effect. I wish all participants productive discussions and effective decisions. I thank you kindly for your attention and I wish you success.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed, Minister. I'll hand the floor back to Dr. Ashi Salmon, again with our sincere thanks. Ashi, I thanked you this morning on behalf of the delegations as well, but you weren't in the room. But I hand the floor back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much with these warm words of opening. I would like to invite Valerie again to the stage, and she'll sing us Let It Be of the Beatles. I think it's really a thing of inspiration and hope, and that's what we all need so much these days. Valerie, please come in.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people find the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, dear Valerie. I think it's first time for me to step down, and we should start the serious program of the day. So, Rob, please.
Thanks very much again, Ashi. So I would like to invite legal counsel to join the head table, if I may. I don't think the Director General is back with us yet, but if he is in the room, of course, he's welcome to join us as well. Legal counsel, if you'd like to join us, and I will pass the floor to the outgoing RC71 President, Ms. Ogeta Manastiriou, Minister of Health and Social Protection of Albania.
Thank you, Rob. Esteemed Regional Director, Dr. Kluge, distinguished ministers, representatives, and guests, it is my honor and privilege this 72nd session of the Regional Committee. It is so nice to see you, so many you here today in Tel Aviv. It is great that we can, for the first time, meet again in person after 3 years since the pandemic hit our continent and our world. I'm sure that you will all join me in thanking Israel for kindly hosting this meeting we launched for so long. It is great to visit your beautiful country and this vibrant city. We all feel privileged that His Excellency, the President of Israel, Mr. Isaac Herzog, took the time to come here and open this session. Under his patronage, we will hold important discussions on a wide range of important health issues for the sake of our population. We are also grateful for the nice musical performance we just all heard. Art is a powerful tool to enhance health and well-being. It is so great. It is also a great medium to bring people together and foster peace and understanding, something that is so much needed in our region and our world right now. As already mentioned, this session will be conducted in a hybrid format, and I also welcome delegates attending online and people following the session through the live stream. To ensure smooth proceedings, the Regional Committee will in a minute be invited to adopt special rules and procedure to accommodate this specific format. Usually, the outgoing president is expected to give a detailed account of the discussions we had during the previous session last year. For the sake of the time, I will refer you to the summary report on that I submitted to the 148th session of the Executive Board in January this year. As you are aware, on 10th May, we also gathered virtually for a special session that was called by a large number of European member states on the war in Ukraine. The report of that special session was circulated among member states, has been electronically adapted. It is now published on the WHO Europe's website. The implementation of the resolution that was adopted at the special session will be discussed in more detail on Wednesday. Before I proceed to invite you to elect the President and other officials of this 72nd session, I would first like to invite the Regional Director, Dr. Hans Kluge, to address this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Manastiriou, President of the 71st session of the Regional Committee, Minister Horowitz, my big brother, Dr. Tedros, honorable ministers, distinguished delegates and friends. It's really a great honor and particularly a pleasure to welcome you here to this Regional Committee session in beautiful Tel Aviv. It's, as Minister Manastiriou was telling, quite something. Still for me hard to believe that for the first time we are gathering under the same roof and with such an unprecedented interest. When we had with His Excellency, the President of Israel, Mr. Isaac Herzog, the picture with the ministers in person, it was amazing how full the terrace was. And we have high-level representation by the European Commission and the Eurasia Economic Commission. It means a lot to us, but particularly to the healthcare workers of our 53 member states who really have given, time and again, the best of themselves in these challenging times. Let me express my heartfelt thanks and gratitude to the government of Israel for the extraordinary effort, Minister Horowitz, really, you have made to make this regional committee session truly remarkable. And being such a fantastic host, and thank you also to the DG, Ash, and our good friend, Ashi. We face a heavy meeting schedule over the coming days, no doubt. But it's also my hope that all of you here will have the opportunity to enjoy the vibrant city of Tel Aviv, join in the social events organized, and taking up some of the morning walk the talk activities. I saw this morning that we have to join up a little bit to walk a little bit more the talk in the morning. There are also social excursions organized to explore other parts of this beautiful country from Thursday. Dear ministers and delegates, I very much look forward to hearing interventions from all representatives here. We are eager to report on progress in implementing the European Programme of Work that both the President of Israel and the Prime Minister of Greece referred to present new plans to accelerate and deepen our actions in various fields, as well as map out work in new areas such as digital transformation and the next steps following the Oslo Medicines Initiative. As I was mentioning in my speech at the reception yesterday evening, I only have one wish for this regional committee, that it is a regional committee in pan-European unity without politicization of the technical debates, as we have so many important issues to agree upon. This we are doing for the health and well-being of the billion people in this region who are experiencing such difficult times. Finally, I thought to explain that I choose to wear a face mask during the sessions as a sign to the people of the pan-European region that COVID-19 is not finished yet. I wish us all good luck, productive discussions and decisions. Thank you, Toda Rabba.
Thank you, Dr. Kluge. Let us now move to the new sub-item on our agenda. In accordance with the rule of procedure of the Regional Committee, Rule 10.2, the 29th Standing Committee of the Regional Committee, based on the deliberation at its third and fourth session, is nominating following delegates for officers' posts at this session of the Regional Committee. For the office of President, the nomination is Mr. Isaac Horowitz of Israel. For the office of Executive President, the nomination is Ambassador Mr. Nora Kroning-Romero of Switzerland. For the office of Deputy Executive President, the nomination is Dr. Marat Shoranov of Kazakhstan. This is also in accordance with Rule 9 of the Rules of Procedure of the SCRC. Moreover, for the office of Rapporteur, the nomination is Dr. Rui Portugal of Portugal. These names will also be shown on a holding slide. Since additional nomination may be made by the members of the Regional Committee, may I seek your views on this nomination? I know that 2 countries are expected to intervene to support the nomination made by SCRC and will raise their country nameplates. Armenia and North Macedonia both confirmed that they will intervene with a statement of endorsement. Will Armenia to make a short statement supporting nomination, and North Macedonia to make a short statement too supporting nomination? Yes. I see no additional nomination have been made. Therefore, I take it that there is agreement of Regional Committee on these proposals. Therefore, the nominations are approved. Well, let me then congratulate the newly elected officers of this 72nd session. I invite them to immediately take up their function and wish them and all of us a successful session. I also take the opportunity to thank you once again for the trust you invested in me by electing me as president of the 71st session. Thank you. Well, I'm leaving now.
So good morning, everybody. And we noticed that Armenia and North Macedonia requested the floor. So please, North Macedonia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dear delegates, dear ministers, on behalf of the Republic of North Macedonia, I would like to thank you for your strong personal commitment to public health. My country supports the proposal made by the Standing Committee. We wish the President and the other officer of the 72nd session of the Regional Committee, the Regional Director, and all of you a successful session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Armenia, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. We also want to thank you for your commitment and from my country support the proposal made by the Standing Committee of the Regional Committee and wish the President and all the others of the 72nd session of the Regional Committee, the Regional Director, and all of the successful session. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Armenia. And again, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Tel Aviv. Director General, my friend, Dr. Kluge, Regional Director, Regional Director, maybe in the future, maybe. Honorable ministers, ambassadors, distinguished delegation members, good morning, everybody. First, I would like to thank the Regional Committee for the honor of chairing this session. I would further like to extend my congratulations to my fellow officers at this 72nd meeting of the WHO European Regional Committee, and I'm honored to welcome you, distinguished guests and colleagues, to the 72nd WHO Europe Regional Committee here in Tel Aviv, Israel. This welcome and this gathering is long overdue. We wanted to host you here 2 years ago, but the universe had other plans for us. The world has changed during those past 2 years, and we must embrace this change and take the opportunity to strengthen our health systems. The COVID-19 pandemic reinforced the truth that global challenges demand global solutions. We are all connected. What happens in one part of the world affects us all. We all share responsibility for one another. This is why events such as this are so important. It is our responsibility to put our best efforts to work together, share ideas and knowledge, and map out best practices and joint efforts to tackle mutual challenges. The WHO is an essential tool in doing this. From day one of the pandemic till this very day, the WHO became a household name for billions around the planet, including here in Israel. COVID-19 exposed weaknesses in emergency preparedness globally and deepened health inequalities. The WHO has coordinated international response to ensure that governments all over the world acted appropriately and proportionately. Yet, as we all know, the WHO was important long before COVID-19 pandemic and will stay so long afterwards. There will always be health challenges and we need to work together to face them. We already have our plate full. The war in Ukraine, now well into its 7th month, triggered a severe health emergency. I'm happy Israel could offer some support in this front with a field hospital that we supply to the Ukraine. Most of our work as ministers and leaders in health is not managing crises. It is to build the foundation for healthcare services and health promoting plans that face today's needs and tomorrow's challenges. WHO Europe 4 flagship initiative defined our health priorities in the coming years: mental health, digital health, immunization, and healthier behaviors. The State of Israel shares fully these priorities. In recent years, Israel passed legislation financing and incorporating more and more mental health services to its standard universal healthcare plans available to all the residents in this country. Israel is a world leader in digital health and in pioneering state-of-the-art technology. I'm proud to initiate the process of establishing a WHO Digital Health Center here in Israel, a center that will benefit the whole region. As a leading force in biotechnology and digital health, Israel will meet up the challenge of opening a WHO regional office, promoting this important challenge. During this pandemic, Israel led the world in vaccine rollout, rapidly vaccinating the vast majority of its residents throughout the country, and continues to ensure its people are protected from other preventable diseases. Israel has much to share with our friends, you, and partners in the WHO, and despite these achievements, Israel has also much to learn. Now, friends, we cannot be here in Tel Aviv and not mention the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. This past year, our government, my government, tried to lead a more communicative and humanitarian approach to the conflict. Our territories, Israelis and Palestinians, are interconnected, and we are one region, especially in terms of health. I met with the Palestinian president and with the Palestinian Minister of Health, and we maintain good contacts with them. Health has no borders, and the health and welfare of our neighbors impacts us all. We need to strengthen the relationship both in the fields of health and medicine, share knowledge, and train professionals for the benefits of Israelis and Palestinians alike. But most importantly, in order to fulfill our vision for a peaceful future, we must aspire to reach a viable long-term agreement. Israelis and Palestinians share this beautiful and troubled land, the Holy Land. We must learn to live here next to each other in peace and security, and the only way to achieve that is by the two-state solution, a Palestinian state side by side with Israel, with peace, security, dignity for both sides. Dear friends, I'm honored that Israel is hosting this prestigious and important event, and I'm proud of Israel's role in the WHO Europe and in the wider international community. It is an opportunity to meet, to discuss several issues. Now, I would ask you, please, during the sessions, to keep your interventions short, focused, and relevant to the topic discussed, so we can make the most of our time. Thank you to the Regional Director and the Secretariat for your assistance, Mr. Steve Solomon and Dr. Egle Granciera in the legal office in Geneva. Welcome again. I hope to see you all this evening at our reception in Susan Dalal, which will give you a chance to enjoy one of Tel Aviv's most beautiful neighborhood, some nice food, and great culture. I wish you all success in our mission of advancing equitable and high-quality healthcare for all. Thank you very much. Okay. Yes. As we explained in the document, the Standing Committee in June decided that this session should be conducted under a hybrid format to make sure that in case a delegate would not be able to travel to Tel Aviv, he or she could still attend virtually. So to accommodate this format, the Secretariat developed special rules and procedures that would supplement, clarify, or amend, where needed, the rules of procedure. This proposal was reviewed and approved by the SCRC through an electronic written procedure. In addition, member states were invited to mark any concerns before last Friday. So since no specific comments or objections were received by the Secretariat, I take it that member states are ready to adopt them. However, if there would be any questions regarding procedures, this hybrid format, Principal Legal Officer Mr. Steve Solomon, assisted by Dr. Egle Granciera, Senior Legal Officer from the WHO Legal Office in Geneva, stand ready to provide any clarification. Sorry. Now, are there any questions regarding these procedures? No? Okay. So let me also remind you that based on Rule 3, right? Based on Rule 3 of the procedure, to the credentials that were received before the opening of the meeting have been verified by a committee on credentials composed by the SCRC 29 chairperson, Ambassador Mrs. Nora Kroning-Romero from Switzerland, Ms. Anna Wachsberg from the United Kingdom, and Ms. Anne Swallow from Belgium, which was appointed by the SCRC and met on Friday, and concluded that all submitted credentials meet the established requirements. So I thank you all member states for these great efforts. And now I invite this RC72 to adopt the relevant draft resolution. Yes, let us then consider the adoption of the proposed draft decision meeting, and the draft amendments have been submitted by member states to some resolutions and decisions in accordance with Rule 22, and the amended conference documents have been circulated in advance of the start of this session as Yes. So with this in mind, is the regional committee therefore ready to adopt the yes, it is projected. The relevant documents. Okay, so I would like, yes,
sont autant de sujets dont nous avons traité. Cela illustre la manière transparente et constructive dont le directeur régional a travaillé avec le comité permanent tout au long de l'année, en s'en servant comme organe de conseil sur toute question importante. Je salue sa détermination à trouver les meilleures solutions et les mettre effectivement en œuvre. Deuxièmement, nous avons accordé une attention toute particulière à la situation sanitaire en Ukraine et les conséquences plus générales de la guerre sur les questions de santé dans la région et au-delà. Je tiens à remercier le directeur régional pour la promptitude avec laquelle il a réagi à la demande formulée par 43 États membres à la fin du mois d'avril, visant à convoquer d'urgence une session extraordinaire du comité régional afin d'en discuter. Le CPCR a depuis suivi étroitement la mise en œuvre de la résolution et continuera à le faire. Troisièmement, malgré tous ces événements qui ont sollicité son attention, le comité permanent a également eu à cœur d'assumer sa tâche habituelle, consistant à préparer le comité régional et notamment à émettre des recommandations sur les candidatures pour la composition des organes directeurs et des commissions.
Document number 2, and that is the report on the 29th Standing Committee of the Regional Committee. Is the committee willing
Как и во многих других докладах, которые будут рассматриваться на этой сессии, к сожалению, в нем присутствует политизированная фразеология, в которой сегодня утром уже было так много сказано. Мы не можем поддержать эту фразеологию ни в докладах, ни в резолюциях, поэтому мы ставим эту резолюцию на голосование. Спасибо.
May I ask the legal counsel to address this issue, please?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Just one moment, we're consulting on this. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. And we thank the distinguished delegation of the Russian Federation for their comment. The concern, as we understood the comment, the concern addresses language in the report of the Standing Committee of the Regional Committee, as opposed to language in the resolution which is before the committee for its adoption. The language in the report itself cannot be changed. That's a report, and traditionally reports of the Secretariat and the bodies that are providing reports to the Regional Committee are considered as such, as reports. They themselves, the reports themselves, are not adopted. What is being proposed for adoption is the draft resolution contained in Conference Doc 2. Our understanding is that Conference Document 2, does not contain the language which the Russian delegation referred to, and therefore that is not at issue. And again, the language in the report itself, that language as a report is not open for editorial changing. This is for very practical reasons. The number of reports before this committee, before governing bodies generally, is very considerable. And if the committee were to go into the language of each report, again, the reports are not adopted, it would take considerable time to reflect drafting changes to the reports themselves. So the long-standing tradition in this regional committee and in the other governing bodies of WHO is that report language is not negotiated language, and accordingly member states are not asked to adopt the reports as such, but this is with respect to the decision itself. So I hope that clarifies that the decision the committee is being asked to adopt does not contain that language with respect to which the Russian delegation made their intervention.
So we will suspend this item. No? Oh, okay. Yeah, Russian Federation.
Спасибо, господин председатель. Я признателен господину Соломону за объяснение. Мы, безусловно, не собираемся и не имеем в виду начать переговоры по докладу, который, безусловно, невозможно переговорить за такой короткий срок. Мы имеем в виду именно резолюцию, в частности, постановляющий пункт 3, где содержится поручение региональному директору по этому докладу. Спасибо. Мы доклад не поддерживаем. Спасибо. Соответственно, будем готовы к переговорам, если они будут начаты.
Okay, so we will suspend this item, and we will get to it later at the end of the day. Okay. We will now move to the next agenda item, and yes. Is it here? Okay. So it gives me now great honor to invite to the podium Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, WHO Director General, who will highlight current key challenges in global health and inform the regional committee about WHO's responses. This is the first time Dr. Tedros addresses the RC since he took up his second term of office, and we are looking forward to his report around the proposed 5 priorities. Dr. Tedros, you have the floor.